Hey, it's Aldwin.
And I'm Jason.
This is the Ready Play Tennis Podcast.
New balls, please.
We put our shit together so that we can entertain you.
Oops. Come back to life, Dick Enberg.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
I feel like it's another ass comment, but...
Jason just called you on your bluff, and you came back and you called us an albatross? I don't know what that is.
Do you know what this is? It's called entertainment in all caps. Time.
Ready?
Play. Well, thank you for coming, Christian. We're really happy to have Christian Harrison, our first ATP player to show up on our podcast. So thank you for coming.
Awesome. Hey, yeah, I'm happy to be the first. Hopefully, definitely not going to be the last. So thanks for having me as well. Thanks for the time.
So Aldwin's a bit embarrassed, but we're pretty confident that some of your fans have probably called you a snack before, but we were wondering the last time that you were called a snack.
Oh, honestly, it's been I haven't seen that terminology in a while. So that's why, I was kind of happy whenever I saw it. So then that's why I was like, got to respond to that one. I like the terminology. So if so, it's been a long time. I definitely don't remember it.
It's a big term in our gay community to call people a snack or to tell you that you're snatched. So that's
okay.
That's one of those things.
I'll take it.
So let me give you a little context, Christian. Jay and I, we are premiering our season 2 next Wednesday.
Okay.
And the video that you responded to was me doing like a little promotion. And I don't know whether you know this, but you have been kind of in the headlines. On Facebook, we have a GLTA message board, which is Gay and Lesbian Tennis Association.
Okay.
And your results in Delray Beach and the controversy that kind of surrounded you, you like exploded.
I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah,
Christian,
I don't even have Facebook anymore, so I haven't been on.
I was like messaging Jason. I'm like, this Christian Harrison is like literally ruling Facebook right now. So I did a promotional video being like, okay, let's get people engaged.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Christian Harrison is a snack or not?
Okay.
And honestly, your communication with us since then has been so easy and just something that we are not used to be honest.
Yeah, well, honestly, I like people, especially that just have a good interest in tennis. The people, they want to get out the message of who the person is, and I really felt that, obviously in your messages and obviously just looking on the page. So that I was like, you know what, like I definitely, that's why I definitely didn't mind having contact. And obviously I appreciate the contact as well. So hopefully It's not the last time that we all talk.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I guess my first question is like, clearly you have a good engagement with the people that are following you on your IG. Like, do you like that kind of relationship? Do you often like message the people that are on your IG, or like how does that work for you?
Yeah, 100%, especially people that I feel like have, the wrong maybe image, but they're also just a respectable person, or they're just respectful with their messages, all the time, because I definitely, obviously I love tennis, but I also just like think that there's a lot of important things outside of life. I'm very passionate about everything I'm doing. And I also just like, just talking and meeting people as well. So then I definitely like to just engage with people and, definitely, meet new friends and, have a lot of relationships with people all around. I think it's a very positive thing, for me, especially when I go to different cities all around. I think there was one guy from Ireland now that I talked to, and it's like, when you come over, maybe we can connect over there. And he's like, I got a vacation home that you'll have to, you're welcome to stay. So things like that, just from when you're just nice and you make friends, you can just help out random strangers all the time. That, I kind of enjoy that side of things and meeting people.
Listen, I can't promise you. Neither Jason and I have vacation homes, so
that's okay.
Really
that sometimes it's just striking gold once in a while.
We're like low level.
Yeah, that's all right.
I was just gonna say I'm moving into a 2-bedroom condo in a year, so you can use the second bedroom.
Oh, that's all right too.
Well, we appreciated. No, go ahead, Aldo.
I was going to say, we just wanted to say thank you because you said about us that, you know, you really appreciate podcasts that like to, you know, illuminate tennis and like spread the news about tennis. And so we really appreciate that comment.
Yeah. So thanks a lot as well.
We wanted to chat with you about growing up with a fellow tennis player, having a sibling. Aldwin and I feel a bit like we're siblings. We've, you know, been friends for the last 6 years, and we have like a competitive rivalry. I'm on the losing end at the moment, and when we get turn the tables. Yeah, when we get back to playing tennis, I'm hoping to turn the tables. But we wondered how your rivalry with Ryan, wow, that's a tongue twister. Your rivalry with Ryan went as you were kids, and sort of who beat who.
Well, obviously he was a couple years older, so it's tough. It's tough beating up your older brother. And I don't know if you guys, whenever I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, I did not grow. Like, we grew at different ages, so he always had me by like a foot in size. So that was tough for me to turn those tables. But it was, you know, obviously having your siblings or rivalries, we would find ways to make it competitive. You know, like if I was 10 years old, he was 12, we would play games to where I would have a slight lead, whether it be a set, a game to 11, game to 15, because you find different ways to make it competitive for both people. And then we would always have a rivalry, and we would find ways to make it at least competitive in those standpoints. But obviously, as we got older, and then I've obviously started getting bigger as well, and then that would change a little bit. But now we're at the point where we're old enough, we're mature enough to where we obviously want each other to do well, but not at the expense of where it's so competitive that it ruins practices. Because there was definitely times when we were like 12, 13, 14, where it would get so competitive that we're fighting with each other. We're complaining, dad's involved, mom's involved. You're talking about it at the dinner table hours later. And then now we're old enough. We're old enough now to where we can kind of, keep it respectful and not take it to those links.
Awesome. So again, Jason and I, just like you and Ryan, Jason and I are doubles partners.
Okay.
Jason and I are doubles partners, and Jason and I have a particular dynamic as doubles partners. Yeah. He's the calm one, and I'm the fucking crazy one. I'm the one that gets fired up.
If he misses, you're like throwing your racket and stuff like that.
Listen, I'm not throwing my racket, but for example, Jason loves down the line. He loves his down the line forehand, and I'm like, babe, you gotta cross in doubles. You cannot hit down the line, otherwise I'm gonna smack that shit down my face, right? So
you can't leave me hanging.
Yeah, exactly. So Jason and I were wondering, as a doubles question, because obviously you've had success with your brother. You guys made the finals of Delray. What is that partnership like? Are you guys who's the cool one? Who's the energetic one?
It's gone. Well, definitely. I think he would be. It's because even in a singles, he'll be more serious. But when we play doubles together, a lot of times he'll be more like upbeat, having fun. And I think sometimes actually, when we play doubles, like I might even be like a little bit more serious, where he's definitely more relaxed. But but that's also part of doubles. It's just having chemistry, and I think the best partners, they're not too serious. Like you're intense, you're having fun, but you're also like relaxed enough to where you don't have that pressure on your partner, that that they don't have that freedom to to go and make a mistake, because sometimes if somebody's too serious, it doesn't help out the partner. Then we kind of learned that we've played together so much too. Obviously, I think we've only played a couple of times on the pro tour, like when we made the quarters at the Open. That was in 2012. That was like one of our first times to play on the pro tour. And then unfortunately, we just didn't get to play a lot after that because I missed a lot of time. And then now it's at the point too where we've just talked about it for so long now that we're both healthy again and we have those opportunities, that it is fun every time we step out there. So we've definitely learned to be more relaxed, especially now. So yeah,
it's awesome.
We wanted to ask you a bit about that time that you missed. Obviously, you've probably talked about it a lot and ad nauseum, but when I read about one of your first injuries that it was suspected was cancer, and I read a little bit about having to drill a hole in the bone in your leg.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that sounds weird and intense.
Yeah, so obviously it wasn't cancer, so it was a misdiagnosis. But what happened was I'd actually had a hamstring injury, which made me do an MRI. The hamstring injury was unrelated to the actual bone infection itself. I just suffered that in the weight room doing training when I first got IMG, and I had just gone into the weight room, had never been there before. I was 14. So after I was in there a couple weeks, I started having this hamstring issue. I did an MRI, and they're like, hey, like, we're not worried about your hamstring right now. We saw something on your bone that's like needs to be checked out. And so I go the next day, start doing more testing, and then they say, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Like we thought that it was a bone tumor at this time. So, but don't stress it. We'll do a 3-month follow-up to be safe. So then didn't think much of it. 2 months later, all of a sudden I'm waking up every night and I'm just having excruciating pain with my leg. And after like 2 weeks goes by, we call the doctor and we just like, hey, we got to come and see you guys because it's my leg's in too much pain. And then by that time, that's when they re-looked at it and they're like, look, like that area is doubled in size. They said they think it's bone cancer at that point, just because of how rapidly this little area that they saw, I think it went from like 5 millimeters to like 11, whatever. It was something like that where it had more than doubled. And then I had to do, go through more testing for the following weeks. I kept doing scans. It was inconclusive. Then eventually they did a bone biopsy. And then that's when they determined it was a bone infection. But you obviously had to wait to get the results back, because that took like, after doing all the testing, another, couple of weeks. So then obviously when we found out it was the bone infection, it was more of a relief, but then we still had to figure out the best way to treat that. And then ultimately they cut a hole the size of a dime pretty much all the way through the bone to take it out. And then I was just like on heavy antibiotics for 6 or 7 months, just so that in case they missed a little spot, that the antibiotics could wipe it out, or that no new infection came with since the bone was pretty tender. And then that was the treatment process for it. But I haven't had any issues with it since.
Well, that's
Wow.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking about that particular treatment, I mean, if you Google Christian Harrison, can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. One of the headlines, like the consistent headline that comes up when you Google your name, is Christian Harrison comes back from 8 injuries.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay.
from eight surgeries. It's like you're synonymous with having done 8 surgeries. So
Yeah.
when Jason and I were talking about, you were like, fuck, honestly, if I was at my 3rd surgery, I'd be done. Like I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
Tennis is good. So like, what was it in you that was like, after the 5th, 6th, 7th, I'm gonna keep on going?
I just really loved the sport. I loved the passion that my dad obviously taught my brother and I, and just from how we saw him growing up, the passion and his work ethic, it just obviously, kind of we picked up on it. And so then I knew that, I developed this passion for tennis when I was younger. And then I was still young enough to where I had all these goals and things that I wanted to do. And then once I was so injured, it just became like, I want to be healthy and I just want to be playing again, because I've taken for granted so much of just just going to practice each day and actually not even competing at that point, just literally just hitting and feeling good from just working out and sweating. Like, it changes your mindset for sure. Even though when you start playing and you're competitive, you don't always realize it. But then sometimes when you're calm, or like even now, like I'll be home and then you kind of reminisce and you think back and you kind of just, you appreciate things in a way. But I guess that's like honestly like a positive that I had. And I just knew that I loved the sport too much to ever want to stop, especially because I was so young at that time.
Yeah. I mean, Jason and I are like 40, and we still think that we can make it on the ATP Tour.
Hey, come on. You see how late guys are playing now? Roger's almost 40. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
So it's
It's
never too late.
I don't know.
You haven't seen my forehand, so you haven't seen my forehand. It's too late for me.
Well, you got back on the court in Delray, and you played the qualifying, and you had a tough second round qualifying match.
Yeah.
That was almost 3 hours with one of your compatriots.
Yep.
So what's it like having that match and then knowing you're in the main draw, but just knowing that it's going to get tougher?
Yeah, well, so in that match, I was actually up a set in 5-2 and had match point. And then I just hadn't been in a main draw of an ATP match in so long. And of course, like I was thinking about it for one, just because my goal when I went to Delray was just to qualify. And then I played just, 5 tournaments now back, starting my singles career again, like after the last year and a half layoff with no singles. And I was like kind of telling myself, oh, well, I've qualified at 4 events, a 5th one would be nice to qualify in the future Challenger ATP. And in a way, like your mind just drifts away, like sometimes when you're playing. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, like, he started playing really well. I got tight, and then he started putting pressure on me, definitely freed up. And then all of a sudden I was in a battle, and I was just like, you know what? Like, let me just get through this match. Like, don't even think about the main draw yet. And then ultimately, like, I somehow got through that one, because that was like a really tough match. But then, and then after that, I just kind of freed up, and I just wanted to just play good matches. And then that's all I started thinking about after that. And then I obviously got to win a couple matches, and then it definitely helped my ranking a lot too. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, like talking a little bit about, I actually want to ask you a question. When you say freeing up, right? Because every
Yeah.
tennis player has, that side, whether it's forehand,
Yeah.
backhand, or ace. Like, what is that shot? What is that shot for you where you're like, oh, it's starting to really work, and like you really feel like you're so loose and you can kind of do anything? Is that your forehand?
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, I'm definitely like pretty similar on both sides, but with the forehand being where you can generate more power, definitely on days where I'm feeling more comfortable, I just feel like that's the side that you can be more deadly on. I feel I make a lot of returns too, so that always like relaxes me, just knowing that sometimes I react well off of their serve more better than most people. So that I'm like, you know what? Sometimes even on days when I don't feel like too great with my ground strokes, I know that I can get some cheap points there when I need them, just from like reacting off of a good return.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, I guess I would say, yeah, my forehand definitely I'll be able to use a lot more.
Okay, great.
So.
Awesome.
Mhm.
It was interesting when you said earlier that you sort of took a moment in that qualifying match that you're about to get to the main draw,
Yeah.
but then you made it to the semis. So what goes through your mind once you make it there? Are you still trying to sort of, play point to point, or have you sort of
Yeah.
overcome that, or are you still
Yeah.
thinking, oh my God, I could win this shit?
Yeah. Well,
Are
I
you
was
thinking
definitely.
like, oh my God, I'm gonna buy an iPad now?
I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Like, maybe I can figure out how to work my camera on a video. Like, but no, I honestly, even at that point, it still hasn't really hit me yet, just because I went back and I was watching some of the matches, and I really felt, I started just feeling really comfortable on the court. It was, during this whole last year, I think I'm pretty lucky that you guys can't really see it, but I'm on my balcony right now, and I live walking distance from like just some private tennis courts. So this whole time I was actually able to just keep hitting and keep trying new stuff for my body. And I just felt like I've made a lot of improvements this last year. So then now that I'm able to just play tournaments, that, I just felt comfortable with everything I was doing. And then right now I just want to keep in my same routine, and then just keep trying to play tournaments and play that same way that I was playing in Delray. And then, hopefully after 6 or 7 months, I'll have more than just one tournament like that to look back on. So that's honestly really just my goal and what I'm focused on. I'm definitely not trying to change anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you're 26. You're 26,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yep.
26
Yep.
is young. So you've got a long career still ahead of you.
Yeah,
Um,
especially that's with how late these guys are playing too. And then obviously I would like to play a lot of doubles each week, and then that you obviously can play later. And so yeah, that's just kind of what I'm focused on right now.
awesome. So, I mean, listen, Christian, this wouldn't be a proper interview if we
Yep.
didn't talk about the controversy that happened,
Yeah.
right?
Ask me
At Delray.
whatever. Ask me whatever. Cause I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, awesome. Like Jason and I were talking about it,
Yeah.
and again, the just going back to the beginning of our interview, when you blew up on Facebook, our Facebook message board,
Yeah.
people were literally coming for you, as in
Oh
like,
yeah.
and I'm sure you've seen it before. Like, you're an intelligent
Yeah.
guy, you know what people are saying about you. And when we saw the messages that were coming in, with like, anti-masker and all of this stuff, it just really startled us because
Yeah.
we necessarily didn't interpret it that way. So what
Yeah.
actually happened?
No, it was just, honestly, it was just more miscommunication, and it's more something like anything. Like, I'll respect the rules of any tournament you're at, especially like the ATP or anything. I don't always have to. People don't always have to agree with something, even if they're gonna do it. And it was like, at the time, it was just something I didn't know was a requirement, which is why I still did all these interviews after. But it's just something too that, like, you just had a big win. I want people to see the expressions, and it was something where I was like, oh, is it like face to face? Like, is anybody at like risk right in front of you? No, like there's nobody around. So I was just like, oh, I think in my case, it's just something where you know, that like that nobody was at risk at that point. So then like, but then again, it's, you got to obviously respect the rules sometimes of the tournaments. And then that's what I did, like obviously farther. And I was still doing that at that time. It's just, it was literally just like miscommunication on what's a requirement that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, yeah.
It's not like you escaped. It's not like you escaped Russia like Sam Querrey.
No, I didn't have to go anywhere like that. But yeah, there's definitely been some crazy times in this last year.
So what happened with the fine? Because, you know, in Sam's example, he was fined a certain amount and then they let him off for good behavior. You were, I think, were to be fined $3,000. But
I really, it's one of those things you have to go through the appeal process. And pretty much what I said on Insta, sometimes that takes a little bit longer, but it was just something where we talked the next day and it was just more like, yeah, it's just kind of miscommunication. You know, do this and it should be okay. So then you're just kind of still waiting to hear, because sometimes they actually, just because that happened, they have to take it out of the prize money. Apparently that was a rule that I didn't know about, that just regardless, but like, yeah, that's like normal procedures, just appeal it and then just go from there. So I'm still waiting to see about it. But if so, like I said, like that was what I was told the following morning. And the thing that I was just more like, yeah, I didn't intentionally do something like at a tournament. Pretty much was like, what I didn't like was what I heard from some of the commentators on TV, where they were more like, yeah, you know, he was breaking rules and then they had to fine him and get him in line, because it was nothing like that, where I'm like, well, okay, like who, like how does that just start getting run away with? Because it was more like, did I choose not to do it at the time? Like, yeah, but was I like saying that there's people around? Because I was, my exact words was like, oh, if there's people around going through a crowd, I was like, I understand, like y'all, no problem at all. But it was more like, if we're doing this interview also outside, then I'll just do that too, so that we don't have to wait around. Like, and then I went and did everything after I cooled down, and you know, so then that was it. But then obviously I played 5 or 6 other matches and did all the interviews after that on the court, just because like at that time it's a requirement. So yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, people were in a heightened state of the world, and everything gets to a heightened place. So I think,
100%.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
where I felt like too, like even on like how like it was running, like taking the story, I'm like, you know what, like obviously I feel like there's a duty too to be like accurate with some of the people that are like reporting. So then I'm like, you know what, like if we're accurate, like who am I just to like, just because it's on TV and no one's around, but they're saying that, you know, like some other reporters in tennis were like, oh, everything communicates. And then that's seeing like, so where this mask can communicate. But I'm like, you know what, if like people can see there's no one around, like people should have that freedom to make their judgment that nobody's at risk, you know? And then if they are like trying to troll it for not, then I think those people are just going to be upset with anything, you know, at that point. So then that's where I'm just more like, I just want like obviously to use common sense and show it, because then if you're trying to make people do it all these times that aren't necessary, then they're not going to do it at times that actually are necessary, where, you know, that's kind of like my theory on it, or like my take. But yeah.
Mhm.
And sorry, just to add, that's the reason why you posted that IG photo. It was the picture of you in front of the microphone, and there was literally no one around you.
Yeah, at
It
that
was like
time, yeah, 100%. Yeah, just because I'm like, there were, and then it was more too, just because like I'd heard that day during the match that people had said something about like that I was just like out of line and just stuff like that, which was just like, it was just like I think that those contexts were out of context pretty much. But yeah, and then that's where it's like, you know what, this is what happened, and then exactly what happened, and then I'm not really like ashamed about it or anything, because I felt like I would just tell everything up front, like what it is. And I think that people should obviously, you know, feel free to like give their opinions, as long as it's not, you know, detrimental or like too crazy, you know. Obviously then we definitely have some crazy people out there though.
Yes, that's true.
One thing we wanted to ask you about, you know, obviously everybody's gearing up for the Australian Open and all the tournaments over there, the 800 tournaments that seem to be happening over there right now. You know, we know the Masters events, the 500 events, but not a lot of us get to see the kinds of tournaments that you're playing at, and that you're really sort of fighting to get to the tour level events. So I wonder if you could like paint a bit of a picture of, you know, what it's like to play the challenger circuit and the ITF, and try and, you know, work your way up to the tour level events.
Yeah, it's tough because now it's just, you have to realize that there's so many good players that you, like me, for instance, I'll go from Delray where there's a lot of recognition there. My next tournament to play is going to be a 25 in Naples, which is a futures. Just one, there's not many tournaments. Two, I still have to keep working on building my ranking, as like I haven't really been able, I don't have a high ranking right now just because I only have 5 tournaments that I've on my record. And then at those tournaments, it's just going to be a completely different environment. It's almost like you almost in a way have to look at it like it's a competitive practice, because there's not going to be probably anybody watching. There's going to be no streams or anything. It's just different. But then again, it's more, you got to obviously have respect for all the players out there, because there's more, there's so many good players now. The depth in the game has increased so much that you just have to accept that you're going to have to, you know, fight through a lot of tough, uncomfortable situations until once you can get to these bigger tournaments all the time. And then obviously life becomes, you know, a little bit different in a lot of these tournaments. So it's honestly just, I think the main thing I would say is just, you got to have the right mentality. So sometimes that's the thing that players have to do. And they're the ones that are able to, once they sometimes have to like drop to challengers or futures, and then they understand that, then they're able to re-break back through pretty quick. And then sometimes people that I think are just like almost pissed, or they're like, you know, they take it as a slight, they're back at those tournaments and then they forget almost all these steps that they had to take the first time through. And then they sometimes get restuck in there, is what I've kind of like seen, or what I've noticed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I wanted to talk about a tournament that you played last fall, because we looked at your ATP Tour record. You were in Italy last fall.
Yep.
And I forget the name of the tournament, but you got through qualifying and you lost a really tough one against Cameron Norrie. In the first round. Kind of to piggyback on Jason's question, like, you know, you work so hard to get through qualifying, you lose in the first round in a tough 3-setter, and are you like, I'm just gonna go eat some pasta now? Like, what's a sitch?
After that one, I actually had so many positives from that, because that was actually my first singles tournament in a year and a half, and I actually went over there and I was still playing singles at that time with the intentions of, you know, I have like a protective ranking of 350 that can get me into some tournaments. I can use it 8 times, but if I haven't done too well in these, and my body's not feeling great because I've just been injured so much, then I'm still going to focus on doubles and just only play doubles. But I had 2, you know, good wins in qualifying where I won pretty comfortably. And then everybody on tour has a lot of respect for Cam's game, just because he's a good player. He's got a great ranking and he makes you work for everything. And in that match, I just felt like I was doing a lot of really good things. And then almost towards the end, I definitely I felt like more, for me, it was more fatigue that I started feeling more in the end, because I was actually up 3-1 in the third. And then at that time, I was just walking off like, you know what, like I just need to keep playing. I think maybe now good things can happen. I'm just going to play every chance I can get and just keep focusing on just the things in practice and matches that are just going to allow me to play well. And then even at that time, because even a challenger for there, like in Italy, like they'll have actually a good amount of people coming out. So then I was actually more motivated, just because I felt just playing a competitive match again was just what I wanted at that time, regardless of who was there. So there's always, and I think that just goes back to like, you always got to find something positive, or just something to like, you know, give you a little bit of motivation to pump you up in any of these scenarios or situations of these tournaments, even if they're just the ITF ones, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's gotta be true, because in most cases, regardless of how far you get, you're often paying your own way, or you're maybe even losing money potentially to get to that event.
Yep. 100%. It's like, now it's like, at least this next futures in Naples, but obviously going from a 250 to a futures, especially when you just did good, like, I guess in this case, I'll be like, you know what, like I'll have to just really focus in, and you can then have like a little bit of pride if you go play these tournaments that you're supposed to do well in, and you win a lot of matches. And I guess that's kind of what I'm, you know, would like to do now. And then I can just tell myself, well, I just played a lot of qualifying. I took care of all these like matches 5 times in qualifying. So just keep doing it and just keep winning, and just try to, you know, get a lot of matches, and then good things just start to happen. So that's, yeah.
Well, you beat Christian Garin, and
Yeah.
you took her catch pretty
Yep.
far in that match. So you have an upside going
Well,
into
I
these other
appreciate it.
events.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, thank you.
So we're almost going to wrap up, I think, but
Okay.
we have a bit of a game, and I'm going to let
Okay.
Aldwin. I'm going to let Aldwin take over.
Okay, awesome.
Do you like games, Christian?
Depends on the game. I don't play like PlayStation or anything like that.
You're not like Curios, who's only playing video games?
No, I haven't even turned on a video game like that since I was 15 or 16.
So Curios calls us albatrosses, so we always try to rib on him a little bit.
Oh, I see.
For his entertainment.
Yeah.
So the game that we have for you, it's our Ready Play Tennis podcast game. It's called the Changeover.
Okay.
And so I'm going to give you a this or that. And what you have to do is like not really think about it and just tell us the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Rapid fire like your forehand.
Uh-oh.
Rapid fire like your exactly, Jason, that's amazing. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
Go. Forehand or backhand?
Forehand.
Serve or volley?
Volley.
Florida or Florida?
Florida.
Yes.
That's the correct answer. Beard or no beard?
Beard.
Snack or meal?
Snack.
Yes.
I agree with that. Of course. Wimbledon or the US Open? Wimbledon. Okay. On court, what's your phrase that you say to yourself to pump yourself up?
Let's go.
Let's go. You're not a come on guy?
Nah, I just say let's go.
Let's go.
I have
okay,
more. I don't know. It's like a little bit more edgy for me in my mind. I feel like everyone says come on, so I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, it's let's go. It's weird.
I like it. Let's go. Okay. ATP Tour best friend.
Pospisil.
You're best friends with Pospisil?
Yeah, he lives like we live like 100 yards from each other in Florida.
Shut
Florida.
up. Wow.
Heck, man. Okay, Jason has something to ask you in a second. Hold on
Okay.
So we'll finish the game. Last thing that you texted Ryan, your brother.
We texted about the stock market.
Did you text about the GameStop stuff?
No, that was something else.
Okay.
He doesn't play video games, remember?
And then his response was to text somebody else to get the info because I was asking him the info. He's like, I don't know, text Robert.
Gotcha. Okay, right. Christian, what's your Netflix binge watch?
Ooh, I was watching Peaky Blinders.
It's a good
I
one.
don't know that one.
Yeah.
Peaky Blinders. Yeah. The Irish guy. The Irish series.
Yeah. That was the last thing that I was really watching.
Okay, next question. Pre-match rituals. Do you do any weird pre-match rituals?
No. I just warm up for 10 minutes and then that's it. Yeah. I change it up all the time though. I literally change depending on the setting in the gym, where it's at. If I can get outside and go somewhere like around and run with some like open space, I'll do that.
You don't take like a comb and like comb your beard? So that it's
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Any on-court superstitions?
Yeah, just like I'll wipe my head and my arm 4 times sometimes. Yeah. I'll go through a phase where I'll just go like that 4 times. I'll go to my forehead to my arm.
When though? Like before your serve? Like
normally, yeah, when I'm serving, I'll go 4 times, and then sometimes when I'm returning, I'll just go twice. It just okay. I always rush, so it makes me sometimes take my time a little bit. But I do it most matches. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have to watch for that.
You'll have to notice it next time.
See, like I love this because people are really getting a feel for who you are. Okay, amazing. Okay, let's say for example you're in Toronto and we're like, okay, Christian, let's go to a karaoke bar. What is your karaoke song?
Ooh, karaoke. I would honestly like Whitney Houston probably. Like I would like Whitney Houston songs.
Oh my God.
Christian Harrison, you're a Whitney fan?
Yeah, pretty big time.
Nice. You're regaining.
Once though it was my brother. He did this charity event. I was 18 and he was 20. It was in 2012, right after the US Open. And then he had a lot of people at this event in our hometown, Shreveport. And then they had a live band. And then her song "I Want to Dance with Somebody" was like came on, and then I went up and started singing it. So then, yeah. So every time I think about karaoke, I think about that song.
Nice.
I Want to Dance. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the karaoke bar, we're gonna take you to a club. What's your turn up track? Like, what's that track that really like you go nuts for?
Ooh, it has to be. I like Chainsmoker or something just like this.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good one. And the last question, Christian Harrison, is what's your number one goal for 2021?
You know, honestly, just to stay healthy and enjoy life. That's it. I don't have any ranking goals, no tournament goals, other than I honestly I just got in a good routine this last little year with everything, and I want to keep it and just keep enjoying things.
Cool. Well, we wish you, great success.
Hey, likewise, and thanks for having me too. And any time in the future too, would love to talk.
Cool. Aldwin did say one thing that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, let's see it.
So Vashik has a warm spot in my heart right here.
Okay.
If you could just like throw a tennis ball over and to his house and have him give us a call when he's back to come on our show, that'd be great.
Sounds good. I'll mention it to him.
Christian, sorry. You know what? Let me just. I this is my opportunity. I'm just gonna give you the real. Okay.
Okay.
Jason would leave his husband for Vashik. Now we know Vashik has got a smoking girlfriend, and that's not gonna happen.
Lord, she's still here right now. Lauren might get in the fight, but I know but we'll see.
But if you throw a ball over and just say, "Hey, come on the podcast," that would be great.
Yeah, just tell me you had a good time.
I will. Hey, thanks for having me too. It was a good time. So keep in touch.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian. Have a good evening and good luck in 2021.
Hey, likewise. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye. See ya.
We're here for your tennistainment or your tentertainment or whatever it is. But if you like what we're serving up, please give us a 5-star review and like, share, and subscribe, and like such as.
Wait, one more thing. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Ready Play Tennis Podcast.